Today I'll be talking about my literacy memoir and reflecting on what I kind of did. We went through the childhood, elementary, middle school, high school, and adulthood. So I'll start with childhood. My first memory involving literacy was having my grandma read to me and my sister every Christmas Eve. We read two books, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and A Night Before Christmas, so that was always something we did every single year. So that was like my first big memory, and this could be experienced by others differently. I think a lot of people have like Christmas traditions that they do every year, or read a story, or listen to songs, or play music around the holidays to get them in the spirit. And I think this was important for me, connecting to my teaching this semester and my future literacy teaching, is making those connections with students and using their history and their traditions to teach them things, or teach them other traditions that they may not have seen usually before. And then next is elementary. This was not a pleasant time for me, honestly. I went to a resource room and it felt like I was in there for years. Like in one day I was in there for years, but I know I wasn't. It just wasn't a really enjoyable experience. I felt like insecure about it, and I felt like I wasn't smart enough because all my other friends were able to do things much easier than I was able to learn and pick up on things. So that was a difficult thing for me to get over. So I still feel pretty insecure about it now. I don't really like talking about it. And I think this could be experienced by others pretty much the same way. I know, like, when you don't want to feel different than other students, and you want to feel accepted, and so this is kind of connected to my future teaching this semester, of that everyone should be included, and try, even though someone may be different, try to keep them involved and keep them engaged in whatever's going on, and be able to help them in a way that maybe other students may not need that assistance, but always be there for your students. Next is middle school. This is where the Twilight phenomenon had hit me. I loved Twilight. It's a 4-book series, and I probably read each book like 10 times each, so I was a little obsessed. I really enjoyed it. It was the first book series I actually like got into and read multiple times, so that was like a new experience for me. This affected a lot of people. The Twilight phenomenon was everywhere. So I think that was something that a lot of people experienced. And then this kind of showed me of like, oh wow, books can be like, reading and books can be interesting if you find something that the student enjoys. So I think it's important to try to know your students and try to figure out what they're interested in, instead of forcing them to read something that obviously they don't want to read and they're not interested in. Next would be high school. This was when like you really hit into the assigned readings, and you were expected to read and be able to contribute to discussions about assigned readings that you were given. I hated assigned readings because, again, I didn't like reading at all, so I used a lot of Google was my best friend. I used a lot of my friends who did the readings, and then I would just like piggyback and make up what they did, so from the information they gave me. So that was kind of a big not liking for me. It wasn't, I think I was just more of, I just didn't want to do it. I didn't find it enjoyable, so why would I do it if I know I can skim on by without doing it? I think this is different from others because, like, I took the lazy way out. Like, it's not when my grades could have been a lot better if I just had taken the time to read the books. Looking back now, and then into adulthood, I found Audible, which has been great for me. I love Audible. I listen to a lot of books on there, and like podcasts, so it's really nice. Whenever I drive home, it's a 10-hour drive, so I get to spend a lot of time. I've read the Ready Player One, the Hobbit series, Lord of the Rings series, so I've really enjoyed Audible now as an adult, and that's like Audible is a really popular resource for people, so I try to do anything. If I have to listen, if I have to read it, I try to get it on tape or be able to listen to it because I can retain the information more and I stay more engaged with what the book is saying instead of just like toning it out, because that's what I tend to do when I have to hold and read it. So I try to get it on book whenever I can. This is, I kind of use this for my future teaching of like, there may be other students like me that do not like holding reading book. Give them if it's possible, give them the options to listen to it. Give them options, and then students will feel more in control of their own education instead of just being told what to do and told that this is a book you need to read. And this is what you need to do. So give them some sort of power or some choices to make in their education. 3 specific examples of what I do in my classroom. I would, again, try to get things on tape and give students the option would be one. Second one would probably be